I can't even believe that more people are not even talking about this. Shalom, it's Unlimited to God. You saw the thumbnail. Right now, there is a proposal in the city of Seattle that would, if passed into law, will completely destroy the city. Make sure to leave a like on this video, and sharing it out really helps me to grow the channel and to promote more messages like this. So right now, there's a proposal in Seattle that is being dubbed the Poverty Excuse bill. Now, basically what this would do is give people who are in one of the three disenfranchised groups, so people who are like homeless, impoverished, people who are suffering from addiction, and people who are mentally ill, it'll give them the green light, if passed into law, to commit misdemeanors legally. There's the top public defender in the city of Seattle actually released this quote. I'm going to read it off my phone. In a situation where you took a sandwich because you were hungry and you were trying to meet your basic need of satisfying your hunger, we as a community will know that we should not punish that. That is the quote from the top public defender in the city of Seattle, who also was a co-author in this bill or proposal. That's what she said. Seattle houses the third largest homeless population in the entire United States, so over 11,000 homeless. It has an above average suicide rate, so there is a lot of mentally ill people within the city of Seattle. And then if you combine those two stats, you can pretty much assume there's probably going to be a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts within a city like that. Now, this bill, I believe, might very well be extremely well intentioned. It might really be, aimed at helping people and giving people more relief. But there's a couple of issues that, a bill like this, if it actually is passed into law, will cause. The first one being the type of things that are actually included in this bill include impaired driving. So if you drive impaired, they will consider that a misdemeanor, and you could face no charges for drunk driving. You could also, in this bill, perform domestic abuse and kind of blame it on mental illness, and basically face no charges. And so there's certain things in this bill that I believe, if they're going to have to change before they're able to pass it into law, if they do that. But when we talk about even the basic things, she talked about, stealing a sandwich, there's a lot more harm that can be done in this, because again, the wording of this law basically means if you did it for your survival and it's a misdemeanor, you're good. So one of the things that are included in this bill is trespassing. So imagine, when I live in LA currently, people will set up, homeless camps and tents and all kinds of things like that outside of people's houses. And, the people who are paying those houses and paying those taxes have basically no legal authority to ask them to move. They have no legal authority to force them to move. All we can do is ask them to move. And the police have also no legal authority to remove them either, because, they're allowed under the laws in the state to basically camp out on public property, which the sidewalk is public property. Now, imagine a bill where you can now legally trespass. Imagine if you had let's say a $400,000 house in Seattle, and you got a back house there, which when the in-laws come in, or when you have family coming in, or maybe your kids come back from school, they usually, use a guest house, and, that's how you do it. Imagine, so nobody's in the guest house at this point in time, this bill is signed into law, a homeless person goes back there and moves all the stuff in, and he's there shooting up and putting trash outside and all kind of stuff like that. And you go ahead and you call the police and say, hey, I got somebody trespassing in my back house. And the police basically say, well, there's nothing we can do about that. You know what I mean? He has a legal authority to be there because he's meeting his basic need for shelter. Imagine a situation like that. So that, in itself, it sounds far-fetched, but in reality, with me living in LA, it doesn't really. So if a bill like this is signed into law, it will give the people who are disenfranchised, the homeless, the impoverished, the drug addicts, and mentally ill, it'll give them, basically power to create a lawless situation. When you think about mom and pop businesses, if they go into these businesses and they steal food, or they steal clothing, or they take other things from these businesses, the business owner now has no ability to file any charges or press any charges or to do anything. So what's going to have to happen is the business owner is going to have to take more money out of their pocket, which, again, small businesses are not really doing all that well in a lot of places right now because of all these restrictions and things like that. So they basically would have to lock everything up. and I feel that that would lead to a lower quality of life of the residents of Seattle, because I hate when I go into stores and I gotta walk through these gates and I got to, you know, like I just feel like I'm a prisoner when I have to do certain things like that, and I despise that. And so I feel like it would lead to a lower quality of life in, you know, the city of Seattle, because small businesses, in order to protect their bottom line, will have to hide everything or lock everything in an ultra secure manner. Also with this bill, I hadn't seen them really mention too much about how they can commit these misdemeanors. Just if somebody's walking with their phone and you just take their phone out their hand, you know, is like, would that be considered a misdemeanor, or is that elevated, you know, to a different crime? Like, how violent can it get while in commission of these crimes? That's something I would like to see talked about and fleshed out as well, you know, in this whole proposal. But again, they're going to be able to steal for small businesses, which again could easily put a lot more businesses out of business, simply for the fact that they can't be able to take this much of a loss or take this much of a hit. You know, they can go and camp out in different other people's residences. You know, they can start just legally squatting, legally occupying property, because it might meet their basic need for survival. With a law like this, the victim is victimized by the criminal and by the legal system itself. The enforcement of a law like this would be kind of hard, because how do you determine what's enough for survival? Because survival is different for each and every person. So if they go and break into a house that's, let's say, $1 million, let's say they break into a mansion, they decide to occupy a mansion, will they just then deem, okay, well, yes, you do need to survive, but you don't need this huge mansion to survive, and then, you know, kick them out and prosecute them for that? Versus him going into, let's say, you know, a basic model house in the hood, and going in there and they say, okay, well, this is necessary for survival. You know, same thing with even just a smaller example. Let's say when she was talking about the sandwich, how do you determine how much someone needs to eat? Because, you know, somebody could be skinny but have a fast metabolism. So, you know, how would they determine how much is just for survival and how much of it is greed? You know, so I feel like a law like this would be pretty difficult to enforce and would likely lead to selective enforcement. So they might enforce it for the financially affluent areas and the financially affluent people, but not so much for the middle class and the poor. And so then again, you know, a law that's meant to help the poor typically, once again, is going to hurt the poor. That's how I feel about it. I feel like it's going to be difficult to enforce. I want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Again, if you're part of the E-Team, make sure to like this video and share it out. If you're not a part of the E-Team, all you got to do is smash that subscribe button, man, and rock with the channel. We also have merch now. We have crew necks, we have t-shirts, and we have a mug. So for those of you guys who are always wondering, the mug is, I do a live stream where I have a bell and I ring it whenever somebody hits a super chat, and so that's called the Freedom Bell. And so we have Freedom Bell mugs, so you can be, the live streams can be more interactive. We have the crew necks, they say shalom on them, because every time I start my video I say shalom. People ask, like, what does that mean? It basically just means peace. You know, peace, what's going on, how's it going? It's a positive greeting that, you know, you greet others with, you know. So shalom, you know, like, what's going on, bro? That's basically how it goes. And yeah, so we have that merchandise. It is linked in the description of this very video. And I appreciate you for watching. Like the video, share it out, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on if you think this will pass or if you think this will flop, and what you think on it overall. I know you guys will love this. E-Team, love you guys. Peace.